would like to call what's happening in our country late stage capitalism, and I call it early stage communism. And I figured, we're really saying the same thing, yo. There's no need for us to talk through each other. What's up, Boring Life? Glenn, what's up? Well, that was fun. We have to do this again sometime. TNT Cycles, PDX. Been working at 4 a.m., so I've missed the last few weeks. Now I'm working graveyard, so I have to stay up to acclimate. Glad Mag is streaming to help me stay up. Man, thanks a lot, man. Little stuff like that, when you get tired, when I get tired, that helps me motivate me to say, nah, let me not go to sleep. Let me do at least a little something. If someone's gonna support like that, great. Thanks for seeing you stop by. Doing the graveyard shift. I used to work. I had to shift 4 to 1. It's not a graveyard shift, but when you work those odd shifts, you get used to it. It's funny. I'd get home from work, I don't know, around 2 or whatever, and I'd eat dinner at like 2 a.m. Not healthy, not good, but I'd eat dinner, then go to sleep, wake up, and then we'd come into work and I'd be tired because I'd go to sleep late in the day. And we'd come in at 4 p.m. and say good morning to each other like it was 8 a.m. in the morning. Taco said, well, this is awkward. I just had some Hard Rock Cafe nachos. Hard Rock Cafe, I think, has good chain food. There's certain chains out there that have food that I like. Anybody else a fan of Cheesecake Factory? I think they have got good chain food. Believe it or not, I'm a fan of the OG. My wife is not. Olive Garden. I love Olive Garden. I don't really order much there. I order that soup, that zuppada. What is it called? I don't even know the Italian. But is the mushroom, the sausage soup, and the breadsticks. It's a wrap. I don't need any. Don't even give me the menu. Keep the breadsticks coming, and keep that soup coming, and I'm good. That's all. And then I dip the breadsticks in that soup. That stuff is fire right there. OG. And not a lot of people might not agree with that one with me. I like their salads too. It's not real Italian, obviously, but sometimes, just like Chinese and real Chinese, you're in the mood for it sometimes. There's a chain by us called Lazy Dog that has good chain food as well. It's quite a few that I like. What's up? So we're going to slide up into the weekend with Happy Talks of Communism. But I just got to go with where my passion is, like where, the thoughts come easy to roll off of my head. And then I kind of see it come together I try to have it come together with like clips and stuff that I've seen. But the headliner is, we did hear that in Seattle, and I don't take any, this stuff is not really funny to me. I want to laugh, so I don't have to cry, but it's not funny to me. I don't take any type of solace in this. I did see a clip, maybe I'll get to that, that made me, my first reaction actually is not very positive about some changes that happened because of immigration. And you look at the communities and you're like, well, you voted for this, don't you? You still support it now, don't you? Who are you mad at? And my thoughts aren't really, I'm not proud of my initial thoughts, but maybe I'll get to that. But in this case, I don't have that same scenario, even though I don't know why it's not the same. Even though it's exactly the same with the same area where they vote for these policies and they really should make their bed, but we are one country. Just because we aren't different, if we had a national divorce, then I would be laughing. I'd be laughing my ass off at this news. It wouldn't be awkward for me at all. I'd be dying of laughter. But I'm not. Hard Rock's Cafe Seattle closure is a symptom of a larger issue. This is a middlemaga.com exclusive. Again, it's not on the website. I got to figure that out. But you're going to get the exclusive on the video, though. I never go back and upload it to the website. So I guess it's a middlemaga.com streaming exclusive. I just got to streamline that process. I've actually been looking at ways to automate all that stuff. And there are ways. You just got to get familiar with it. I took this from two articles. One was from the Post Millennial. Then I always go to the source. Usually there's a source article associated with it. And then that one is from the Seattle website itself. So this is from Seattle's website, and then Seattle Times. And then I go ahead, give some of my opinions, tell ChatGPT what I care about, and then now you've got a unique piece of information or a unique phrasing of the information. In a move that has left many surprised, the Hard Rock Cafe in downtown Seattle announced its impending closure slated for December 1st of this year. The establishment, which has been a part of the city's dining and entertainment scene since 2010, will lay off 66 workers as a result of this decision. It was a big venue. And that's typically how the Hard Rocks go. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. There's a Hard Rock. I think it's still there. I haven't been back home in a minute. But this venue, I don't think it has 425 seats. But this one here, near the iconic Pike Place Market, that's where the Pike Place Starbucks came from, venue. And I have been there. It's a cool spot. I believe that's the market where you see them throwing the fish. It's a cool spot. Seattle's a beautiful city. Or I haven't been in a minute. Might have to say was. I don't know either way because I haven't been there myself. But this venue sat 425 people. It's a very large restaurant, very large building, very large place to lose business from. So looking at this in the details, we're going to talk about this and go across the country to go over this more. But they're very well known for live music. This one had a rooftop deck, rock shop, indicating, everybody likes to get their Hard Rock Cafe shirts and gear. And there are a lot of jobs circulating from that. 66 people seem pretty trimmed down to me. Broader business trend. The Target, Amazon Go have closed down in Seattle. Amazon Go has closed down in Seattle. That's not good. Flagship Nike store shut its doors earlier this year. Are we seeing a pattern here? Is anybody concerned about this in Seattle? Hey, Seattle, anybody there? Ray, thank you, $2 super chat. Adam just posted his deprogrammed video on Twitter, so I'll get to that. I have not seen that, obviously, but I will get to that. Anybody home in Seattle? Anybody care about what's happening? It would be nice if I know you care about all these other things, these other gender things, race things, and social justice this, and Chaz Chop this, and MAGA evil that, and do you care about any of this? So now you've seen these closing of these big stores. So the big stores are closing. These are not being filled by little stores. Crime and police funding. The first article we're talking about is the Post Millennial, states that crime has spiked in Seattle following the city council's decision to defund the police in 2020. We're still feeling the ramifications. The Seattle Police Department is operating below safe limits. I don't know what that means. It doesn't sound good, though. This is the same type of area that does not promote self-defense. And the city has seen an increase in homicides. I'm not a statistician, but I don't think an increase in homicides is a good thing. Probably not a good thing. Probably less than desirable for an area that you live in. So looking at it, there's an uncertain future now because the Hard Rock Cafe has left. They didn't explicitly state a reason for its closure. Doesn't seem organic to me. If a big business is going to leave, they wouldn't be afraid to say why they're leaving. They probably would be like, hey, the place is run down. Fix it up and we'll come back. But, they actually did say that. They said if the right opportunity presents itself. I don't know this for sure, but you know what that sounds like? It sounds like they're saying that you've turned Seattle into a shithole and we'll be back when you fix it. That's not what they said, but that's what it sounds like they said. Why would they leave and not state a reason? They didn't even make one up. They were just like we're out. They didn't even say there's other opportunities. You couldn't make something up that would even make sense. We know why they're leaving. This leaves the door open for a potential reestablishment in the Emerald City, although no concrete plans have been announced. The ripple effect on employment has a significant impact on the venue's workforce. 66 employees will be affected. And when you look at the city area out there, every job matters. It's just another layer of complexity to Seattle's already challenging employment landscape. Trend of business exits. So, like I mentioned, Target, Amazon Go, Nike, since 1996, closed its doors. This pattern follows everywhere we're seeing across the country. Comparisons have been made to San Francisco and other cities where businesses are increasingly choosing to just bail out. The crime factor cannot be ignored. This has coincided with when we talked about homicide. Here's the specific number, 7% in the first half of 2023 alone. The closure of the Hard Rock Cafe serves as a microcosm of the larger issues plaguing Seattle and our country, from rising crime rates to the trends of businesses just exiting. Chicago's one where we just recently talked about. I'm starting to see a pattern, and you see patterns because your body says you want to survive. And I live by one of these major cities that does the same thing as Seattle, same thing as Boston, same thing as Chicago. It's not organic for the same thing to be happening in all of these major cities. Why would Seattle operate the same way as Chicago? Why would Chicago operate the same way as Boston in some of these major ways? Why would Denver operate the same way as all of them? It's clear that the city and our country are at a crossroads, grappling with the challenges that we have and the implications for these scenarios. It also made me think of New York. In New York, we're seeing immigration. This is New York, not a border city or state. We're seeing immigration rise to levels that it's so alarming that even the Democrats are kind of raising concern. And they've transformed iconic hotels. In an unprecedented move, New York City has converted approximately 100 hotels and other facilities into temporary housing for migrants. One such, they don't have people coming for conferences and all those type of things in New York. Or I remember I went there 2016-ish or 17-ish for a conference. One such establishment, that's actually when I met Mika and Joe Scarborough. One such, and Willie too was there. One such, Willie Geist that is. One such establishment is the Row NYC Hotel, situated near the bustling Times Square. And they were all great. Times were different back then. It was definitely after Trump. I think it was just right after Trump. Or was it right before Trump? I apologize. I think it was right before Trump. Man, that would have been awkward now. That would have been awkward. I'm civil. I'm not gonna talk politics and all that. There was no politics being talked, but still would have felt awkward for me. That would be funny. What would Joe do if I came through walking with a major MAGA sweater on or a Mega MAGA Man sweater, what would Joe have done? I don't know. I wouldn't have done that, but I'm just curious. And in this unprecedented move, the city has allocated a $40 million contract to transform this row. This is one hotel, one row NYC hotel into a shelter for homeless families. This is the source for this is New York Times. This is actually a lot of this is coming from March New York Times, but I sourced multiple articles. This initiative is part of a broader effort to accommodate some of the 50,000 migrants who have arrived in the city from the southern border since last spring. Financial implications. The city is planning on spending $4 billion over the next 2 years on this project. Another hotel involved in this initiative is the Stewart Hotel, located next to Madison Square Garden. The city has signed a $3.6 million monthly contract with the hotel, which previously listed a room rate at $200 per night. Shelters are not merely places to sleep. They offer a range of services known as humanitarian emergency response relief centers. These facilities are more expensive to operate than traditional shelters. They provide on-site medical screenings, counseling, and assist with travel arrangements to other destinations. Food and amenities. Since most of these hotels do not have kitchens, the city has entered into contracts with food vendors to provide meals. The costs for these meals range from $25 to $35 per person each day. These contracts aim to offer a culturally appropriate Latin-centric menu with variety throughout the week. While the city's efforts are aimed at providing humanitarian aid, they have not been without controversy. Critics argue that the funds could be better spent on permanent housing solutions for all homeless residents, not just migrants. They're arguing that not enough is being spent. They're arguing that more people could be housed, even people who don't want to be housed, people who aren't even functional to be housed. This is even separate from the migrants. This is talking about homeless people. Now, the immigrants, the vast majority of them are illegal immigrants. They are human beings and should be treated as such. But what that means is we should be nice when we send their ass back home. Even before the influx of migrants, the average stay in New York City's, you see how I have to do work on these things before I even upload them because I'm not using the word migrants. I'm using the word illegal immigrants or illegal aliens. So I have to go back and tell ChatGPT, stop using the word migrants. You're getting that from the source. Here's what I want from you. And that takes a little bit of time. The average stay was over 500 days. So you can do the math. 500 days, how much are the meals per day? How much are the hotels per day? The hotel was $200 per day. I don't know what they're getting. Some people are estimating $300 to $500 per day. I understand it's a complex issue, but how long before New York just says it's easier for us to just own the hotels? And that's where you get into early stage communism. Tim Pool stopping on by. Wow. We got some anti-Tim Pool accounts coming through. Appreciate you. Subway Jack said this is an epic response. They would never give us 1% the same treatment. Man, F this government. It's time for a revolution. I think it's beyond time for a peaceful revolution. We have been pacified. We have been soft. And we now need to be strategic. Tim Pool says there's money in the homeless situation, and they suck every dime they can out of it. TNT Cycles PDX says Biden just gave $79,000 each to 150,000 people in student loan forgiveness. More money doled out. Makes you wonder, where's it coming from? It all stems from the Federal Reserve, but that can only do so much. The progressives are going to say, well, you're going to have to pay it, especially if you're making a certain amount of income.
New York is in dire straits. Crime is rampant. We've got that viral story all throughout this week of that dude who was murdered, the leftist, and his girlfriend, who was also a leftist. And we're well aware that things are getting bad. Stores are closing. The economy is not doing so well. But ladies and gentlemen, AOC calls for higher taxes on New York's top 5%, which would hit households earning more than $250,000 a year, analysis shows. Okay, $250,000 a year is the top 5%, because the reality is in New York, you struggle and life sucks. It's one of the reasons I left New York. It is unaffordable. If you're super rich, fine, I guess. But if you're super rich, why would you live in an area where someone might kill you? You wouldn't. You'd leave. And well, I left. Most of my friends left. And there are a lot of people that are still there. But right now, there is a mass exodus out of New York of people who earn. What AOC is proposing is exactly what destroys cities. And I've got the income calculator to back this up. So let's talk about the top 5% and how they're living. The firebrand Democrats signed onto a statement issued last month by the New York City Democratic Socialists, calling on the city and state to fund resources for all New Yorkers by raising taxes in the top 5%.
It had to always, all roads always led back to that. And that's going to lead back to the federal government as well and your federal taxes. This is why the class warfare, I will say it's better than the race, but it's problematic because you can excuse bad government behavior by saying, oh, it's the people making $250,000. But in New York, is that really that much? Depending on where you live, cost of living is very high there. And number one, and number two, it shows that they will use your wallets or your fellow citizens' wallets to waste money. That's not okay. I don't care if the taxes don't even directly, and they will eventually apply to you. I talked about the Trump tax cuts. Why would they lie about the Trump tax cuts that didn't just cut taxes for the rich? To my knowledge, the Reagan tax cuts were more targeted at the rich. The Trump tax cuts were not only at the rich. 15,000 to 50,000 income got 16 to 26% tax cut. That was from a leftist, I believe that was Daily, I forget which one that was, which outlet I got that information from. So I'm not okay with this. It's not okay for you to increase taxes, and you've got the people who actually generate. I mean, this is somewhat getting into trickle down, but there is some truth. Even though I was not for the Reagan tax cuts, there is some truth to that concept of trickling down. So you're chasing people up out of there. That's what you're doing. If you chase people up out of there, what do you get? You get companies leaving. People can't work. People won't work. They can't work. I apologize. I messed up the Rumble stream. You're just jumping in right now, but it's not a bad time to jump in. I already covered the Hard Rock Cafe leaving Seattle, and the bigger picture of it, it's a trend. If it was just Seattle, I wouldn't even be talking about it. It would still be sad, but you'd be like, okay, another company will just take that spot over. No, that's not what's going to happen. The government's probably going to take that spot over. And that's why it's early stage communism. So they want to tax in New York, tax people. I don't know if it's households over 250. That does make a big difference if it's households or just individual people. But they want to take that money from you so they can waste it on $4 billion over 2 years on illegal immigrants. Are you okay with that? I don't care if I'm making $50K. I'm not okay with that. You're still taking some of my money, then you're going to take more of their money and then burn the money. Look at DC. We're seeing real-time footage. I don't see this on mainstream media. Maybe it's there. I don't know. Because I just watched Morning Joe, and I haven't even watched Morning Joe recently over the last couple of days, but I typically get up and watch it, just haven't recently. The shelves are literally empty at CVS in DC thanks to shoplifters. And wokeness says, don't care, they voted for it. That's the idea I had with the story I'll cover later. But for some reason on that story, I felt bad about that take. It's not a good take, but it's a really natural first reaction. There's nothing to hear on this video. It's a CVS that has there's nothing in the shelves. Is that late stage? Is that late stage capitalism or early stage communism, or are those really the same thing? Now, I might not agree with my friends on the left. The ones on the left that say we're good with MAGA communism, they're cool. They're not afraid of free market capital principles, even though they use the word communism. What they really mean by the word communism is really like community. Those people who are not afraid of the term MAGA communism, the people who, that's Jackson Hinkle types. But those who use up straight up communism, let's talk about what it is. So here's just a loose idea. I really liked this one. I kept kind of saying, "Hey, what is the idea of communism?" Nah, that doesn't make sense to me. I've talked about this many times because I've struggled with this definition, and I still struggle with it. But I'm going to have a guide here to help me through it. And this is what I mean by communism. What is communism? It's a socio-economic and political ideology that advocates for a classless society. So if you're really for communism, why would you be cheering for rich people getting taxed? That ain't a classless society. That's saying rich people stay rich, and this is not my position. I'm just trying to look at the other side. That says rich people stay rich, you take the money, the government takes the money, they take the money and they blow the money. So they feel like, okay, if you take the money from the rich, then you give it to the other people. That's not a classless society. That's saying you're poor, I'll throw you some bread scraps, I'm going to take the money from the rich, we'll be corrupt, we'll break ourselves off money because we're rich, the politicians, and then we'll say, we'll do some of this stuff like, okay, we'll pay for a hotel, breaking off the hotel owners, all that, and we'll have immigration. That ain't a classless society. So I don't know why you would be supporting that. Where the means of production, distribution, and exchange are owned collectively by the community as a whole. Does it sound like those are being owned by the community as a whole? No. So what you're seeing is the idea of communism is similar to libertarianism in the specific aspect of it is a utopia. It's not happening. It's not going to happen. Not in a country as big as the United States. It's something you're striving for. Again, not what I'm striving for. I'm striving for it to be as close to liberty as possible. And that's what the founding fathers did. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that's what they meant by that, is libertarianism. But for communists, you have to acknowledge, and they do, that it's never exist in the way they think in the history of this planet, not in any large society. It has never existed. This classless society has never existed. When I say classless society, that means there's no Nancy Pelosi's, there's no Chuck Schumer's, there's no Mitch McConnell's, none of that. Because there's no class. So that's a utopia that they're trying to strive for. And if you want to strive for that, then I think that's fine. But understand it's never existed before, and it's something that realistically never will exist. I think that's fair to say. Somebody who I think would probably label themselves a socialist, Dr. Cornel West. We talked about him multiple times in the beef with Jimmy Dore. He announced that he's running and he's going to do it independently. So there's a lot of drama going on with that. But I'm going to show you something here. We talked about this with Jimmy Dore, and then we'll get back to the communist. Because I think the socialists and communists, like there's nothing in that phrase of communism that he would disagree with. So it's a blurred line. I guess socialist is another way for me where you're trying to describe someone who's an aspiring communist. But here's Dr. Cornel West. This is 40 seconds. I want you to tell me something is conspicuously missing from this announcement. It's a good thing, but it's really missing, and I noticed it.
We need you to be part and parcel of wrestling with this corporate duopoly, this two-party system that impedes, it gets in the way of the unleashing of the kind of policies of abolishing poverty and homelessness, of dealing with working wages, cutting back on militarism, and most importantly, trying to ensure that the best of who we are as a people can be more manifest, can be more concrete, because the crisis is real and these catastrophes are bombarding us. Please come join us.
I love that little. I like that music fits his vibe so well. He's like a black.
Yes, we.
He's like Bernie Sanders in blackface, isn't he? And that not. I don't mean that as like a diss. Like the look and everything. So he just has that Bernie Sanders vibe in there. And notice what was missing from there. I'm not going to be dissing Cornell. If Cornell West was like this, maybe Jimmy might have moved the Overton window within the Dr. West. What was missing from that? These people don't say one statement without saying blackity black, gay, trans, marginalized. Hey, Dr. West, this is a good thing again. He says, we 24, Dr. Cornell West, he has WE highlighted and 24. Something changed, my brother.
We need you to be part and parcel of wrestling with this corporate.
You got me all the way. Part and parcel of, and I like the verbiage too. Like, I need ChatGPT to spit that verbiage. That brother, he doesn't need it. So I like what I see here, Dr. Cornell West. Part of the part and parcel of wrestling with this corporate duopoly. That's his personality. That's how he communicates. That's not phony. That's authentic.
Also of wrestling with this corporate duopoly, this two-party system.
I don't think there's anybody in this channel that would disagree with any of this so far. I mean, you know what I mean.
That impedes, it gets in the way of the unleashing of the kind of policies of abolishing poverty and home.
So now he's gone a little bit too far, but I'm still with you. I'm not against you. He said, obviously, you can't abolish. What does it mean to abolish poverty? But notice he didn't say abolish racism. This is a shocking development right here.
Homelessness, of dealing with working wages, cutting.
Working wages, I'm good. We won't agree on how to get to that, but nothing here he said that I disagree with so far. I mean, abolishing these things is strong, but Trump says things that's over the top too. I like this. Cutting back on militarism. Not strong enough, but I'm still there with you. Working wages.
Back on militarism, and most importantly, trying.
Is militarism a word? He has words that vocabulary is well above me.
To ensure that the best of who we are as a people can be more manifest.
I love that. Those are bars right there. This is spoken word. This is me in Ann Arbor, Michigan, circa 96. I didn't spit the spoken word very often, but I would be vibing out to other people. This was like a spoken word event.
The people can be more manifest, can be more concrete, because the crisis is real and these catastrophes are bombarding us.
What a way with words.
Please come join us.
If you stop talking about race, then I'll come join you, sir. Keep that up. Keep that up. There's a whole different vibe. I didn't hear you talking about trans stuff. I didn't hear you talking about marginalized communities stuff. I know you still believe that stuff, but just keep it in your back pocket or something. We can do something there. But that's Dr. Cornell West. I think he would strive for communism, but he wants the utopia kind. He doesn't want this kind. You heard him talking about being against corporations. So I do have questions before we sit at the table and hypothetically break bread. How was your take so bad on the pandemic? How does that happen if you're really anti-corporate? So there's things that we have to break. We have to kind of separate and work through. In a communist society, as I said, there's no private property or division of labor. Instead, all property is publicly owned. So where are we going with Hard Rock Cafe leaving Seattle? Where are we going with the grocery stores leaving Chicago and they're bringing in a Niggas for Us potentially grocery store, which is basically the state plantation. And we're looking at San Francisco. What are they going to do with all those open, decrepit, broke down office buildings in San Francisco that nobody wants anymore, devalued? Each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. The central tenet is the establishment of a communal, egalitarian society free from exploitation and oppression. That is utopia. That is a dream world that they're looking for. And what's the meaning on that? Very corrupt people will be able to manipulate your emotions in search of your dream utopia. That's why it matters. So AOC is selling you on, I'm the closest, I'm the one in DC that can get you to this utopia. All I need to do is tax the people that make over 250. You only make 50, right? You got to hate that person that's making over 250. I'll take that money from them. And what it will do, it will fund our campaigns against those evil MAGA people. We'll give you some welfare, some SNAP benefits or something. And then we'll break off the hotels. We'll break off ourselves. We're rich. We're not going to be the poor ones, but we'll give you some crumbs, break off our friends, our cronies. We'll also break off Zelensky. Now, I know they're talking about state taxes there, but, AOC is in the federal government, so she can kind of dabble and influence both. And why do they fall for it? Why do they go for it? It's because they don't have faith in God. They have faith in this utopia. This is heaven. That's what they have faith in. And anybody that helps get them to heaven is where they go. And what about the people who see this, like you and I in the chat for the most part? If you see this and you say, something has to change, I don't like this. I don't like where this goes. Because in reality, how communist societies have played out in reality, it's been centralized controls, totalitarianism, and gulags and deprogramming.
Sadly, so many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists, take their marching orders from Donald Trump. And when do they break with him? Because at some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members.
Terms being tossed around like deprogramming Trump followers.
All of America needs deprogramming because we've all been negatively influenced by Donald Trump.
Can't sit down with people that don't recognize there was an insurrection. Megan alluded the other day to the deprogramming that Katie Couric talked about.
Deprogramming that might work in other cases is it's obviously proven to be difficult.
But many of them have allowed the lies really to seep into their soul, and it's beginning to rot their minds.
Taking it even a step further, Raskin told the New York Times that he's ordered books about cults and deprogramming to try to understand his Republican colleagues.
There are a couple accounts, libs of TikTok, a few, really prominent anti-trans and sort of far-right activists who started to essentially make the argument.
How is libs of TikTok anti-trans? Because she takes videos from trans people and reposts.
That any exposure to children about LGBT people is automatically grooming.
It seems to be emboldening anti-gay trolls. Explain how.
Not just libs of TikTok, but this guy, James Lindsay, they would say, hey, there's going to be something at this library. They're going to read books. A drag queen's going to come and read books.
How do you fix it? How do you undo it?
Well, at this point, it's deprogramming.
That's what we're being fed. People of other races are out to get you. We accept that. We get fed that. And so when that doorbell rings or the basketball comes into your yard, your first response is to pull that gun. It's a programming that's occurring. The deprogramming question is much tougher to answer.
People have literally been brainwashed, and it's scary by the mis and disinformation that is online, that is being the propaganda on Fox News. It is another epidemic that our country is facing. And until we really hold platforms accountable, until we really do some deprogramming.
And anyone like him that says the press is the enemy of the people, that's what Hubbard would say. That's what Moon said.
If you say this is a cult, What's the first step of deprogramming?
The first step with anyone who's a true believer is contact with people that are outside the bubble.
I mean, I was just trying to engage in a little deprogramming with all of these myths about COVID-19.
Is there any convincing those people that they're not living in a world of reality or facts?
No, listen, if there was a deprogramming pill that I could put in everybody's stocking for Christmas, I would do it.
It's because of Facebook, it's gotten out into wine moms and yoga groups, and maybe that's something that started as innocuous online that turns into something completely different, Brian. And that's part of the challenge, as you write, of deprogramming it.
We have issues that are going to take a long time to root out. And it's really about deprogramming. People have been listening to stuff coming from Marjorie Taylor Greene and other big social influencers, and that includes the president.
I hope I got bad news for you. Marjorie Taylor Greene's too soft for me. You want to talk about deprogramming? I don't know if she's too soft, but you know what I mean. I don't even rock with her like that. So I'm even worse than y'all even think.
Programming. People have been listening to stuff coming from Marjorie Taylor Greene and other big social influencers, and that includes the president.
I hope deprogramming.
How about this? The president's not enough of the president for me. But you know what? I have not sealed it in yet that I wasn't going to vote for Trump. They are going so hard on Trump. I'm considering voting for him again. It doesn't matter in the state that I'm in. I'm in Colorado. It's going to go blue no matter what. The philosophy matters to me a lot. The vote still matters to me a lot. And I know it's rigged and all that. That's still there, but it's still the idea of who I'm voting for, at least at the presidential level like that, matters.
Some people, one person at a time.
They just need a little bit of affirmation. I've been spending a lot of time reading about deprogramming.
Deprogramming.
Deprogram.
You're reading my mind.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that happening lately.
No, you don't need to be deprogrammed. You look pretty rational.
No, I'm not talking about me, but
that is a meme from or spliced together, supercut by Grabayan. I don't even know who Grabayan is. Right, left of center. We've got royalty in the building. River, what's good? We got to stop and just be like, thank you for stopping through. Appreciate you. Thanks for the super chat, because it's hard to manage all the, seeing all the channel. I wouldn't even seen you in there. Right, left of center, click on the channel there for your deprogramming fund. We all gonna be, hey River, what you gonna do in the gulag? We're gonna be in the gulags together. What you gonna do? See, River's talented though. So I'm asking. Because River could put on the puppet show. She could sing. She could knit, dance. I mean, she's like old school, like back in the day when people used to be able to act and sing and do all kinds of stuff. I don't even have a talent for the gulag. My talent for the gulag would probably be to try to keep peace between the different factions. I'd want to be the glue between the factions when we're in our deprogramming gulag. You're going to really have to, River's going to have to really get deprogrammed. You go watch her channels. She's savage in a very respectful way, energizes me in a positive way. I appreciate you. Brian Stelter had a vague tweet on Twitter. This was kind of vague, and so people were like, what did this mean? I'll tell you what, just my impression. I don't know what's in this bruh's head, but it's a very short post on X. Brian Stelter said, what would formal deprogramming look like? So they're so good at this. There's no discussion over, the discussion isn't, Hillary, are you out of your damn mind? What's wrong with you? And you can see why Hillary said it so casually. I didn't even realize until that supercut, I didn't realize they had been saying it casually all the time. I mean, things are so crazy. I probably heard them say it on MSNBC and didn't even blink an eye. And for some reason to see Hillary and her red, puffed up cheeks looking like a female kind of emperor from Star Wars, it just hit differently. And looking back, like they've been saying it. They're probably wondering like, why is everybody in an uproar? We've been saying this for a long time. We've got the plans laid out. Brian Stelter says, what would formal deprogramming look like? So I replied to that and I said, I don't know if Brian has had his transition or yet or not, but I think what he's doing, he's either getting a hard on or his vag wet by dreaming of taking his political enemies, the ones who've been calling him a fat pig. I wouldn't call him a fat pig. I would never do that. That's not kosher. But a lot of people say he looked like a piggy. And that wasn't me, it was somebody else. And those people who make fun of his looks and all that, really why they're doing that is because they don't like you, they don't respect you, and because he can. If somebody looks like Piggy and they are for my rights, I'll be like, they are the First Amendment Piggy. They are my libertarian Piggy. Leave that Piggy alone. That Piggy, do what you want with. So people call him names and all that stuff, and he would love to see them taken away. Brian, what would formal deprogramming look like? We know what it would look like. It would look like trains, tracks, cabins, concentration. You get taken away, and we know what that at the end of the day, we know what that means. Deprogramming, it kind of looks like this. This is what it would literally look like. This is why Brian Stelter is so happy. He wants to see this.
And I'm about to get deprogrammed from the mega cult. I don't think Trump is racist. Okay, Trump is racist. I'm a man. Of course, I'm a man. There are no genders. You know what? We need to build the wall. We need to build back better. No, I don't think that. I think all lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
I got some more breaking footage. This is via thank you Ray Studios for giving the shout out. Adam Francisco, check out the channel. Adam Francisco. CIA releases video of deprogramming session for Trump supporters led by Hillary Clinton. Let's see what this is. I haven't seen this one yet.
Let him out. Put him in the front of the car. Which lives matter?
Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
Good. Will you get the updated bivalent booster?
Yes, I will get the bivalent COVID booster every month, whatever you need. Yes.
Good. Should we keep funding Ukraine?
Yes. Fund Ukraine. Send them everything. Give everything to Zelensky.
Good.
Give everything, every penny.
Will you put the Ukraine flag in your bio?
Yes. I will use the Ukraine flag. I will put the Ukraine flag everywhere. I'll put it in my Twitter bio. I'll put it on the back of my car. Everybody will know that I stand with Ukraine.
Good. Is Donald Trump a racist?
Yes. Donald Trump is racist. Donald Trump is xenophobic. Donald Trump hates immigrants. He hates me. He hates you. He hates all of us.
Good. What is MAGA?
MAGA is a cult. MAGA is a cult. MAGA is racist and it's xenophobic. MAGA is white supremacy, please.
Very good. Who is the greatest president?
Joe Biden.
Good.
Joe Biden is my president.
Very good.
He is the greatest president of our lifetime. He is the best president of our lifetime. Please.
Very good.
I love Joe Biden.
Should we build the wall?
No.
Oh, no.
No, do not build the wall. The wall is racist. Let them all in. Let every migrant in. Let them all in.
He passed the test. Let him go.
That's Adam Francisco.
Hey, how's it going? Good.
And that's what it would look like. That's the gentle version. I couldn't probably put the real version up there. I agree with you, TNT Psychos. I think it'd have to be over. I feel like it's been a good run, but it'd be hard for me to imagine a scenario where I get deprogrammed into saying Joe Biden is the best president ever. Jordan Lott, what's up? Taco's like it'd be over. Like Taco's like I couldn't do it. You'd want to, you want to. I mean, it's just words. You could lie. You know what's in your head. You could lie and say Joe Biden is the greatest president ever. Black Lives Matter, best movement of all time. Corruption? No corruption. MAGA's the corrupt one. MAGA's racist, white supremacist, all that kind of stuff. And you'd be like, yeah, I can just say it just like that. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I could do it. That'd be a tough one. I'm not an alarm puller, so this doesn't just come easy like that. Dan Plemick says silencing free speech isn't enough for Hillary. She wants to silence our thoughts. They're getting to that. I covered that in a video, believe it or not. I mean, literally, when you get into AI and the ability, even Neuralink, and potentially before Neuralink even, you can predict. So it's not really exactly, if you have enough data, the algorithm can predict. So if TikTok has enough data on me, it will predict what time of day is going on, what I would most likely want to see. Maybe I like listening to metal music TikToks in the morning. I haven't been on the app in a long time. I've been actually on YouTube Shorts more than TikTok recently, but it's just weird because I've been uploading shorts, so it's not like on purpose. But it will know, in the morning, you kind of like that pick me up. So I'll give you some metal in the morning. You know what? In the middle of the day, you're not too much into the metal. I'll give you some whatever it is. They'll give you twerking, ass shaking, tall women, skinny women, anorexic women. I mean, just literally, or it'll give you anything you want because it will basically know. Tucker Carlson, somebody who talks about this a lot, that truth is important, and if you can't say the truth, then you are a slave. What country do you live in where you can't say the truth, where you can't question what you know to be lies? What's the ramification of that? Tying it right into the centralized control. In reality, that's all communism is, and it's centralized control of everything.
If you want to know, and I'm being completely sincere, what's true, the true things are the things that you can't say. I cannot remember the last time someone in public life was prosecuted or even criticized for lying. If lying was a crime, I mean, your governor would be in Supermax for life.
Talking about Governor
if being incompetent
Whitmer
was a felony, she'd be on death row. Banning paint sales during COVID? It's unbelievable. But there's no penalty for lying and there's no penalty for incompetence. So what do we penalize? Every society penalizes something. But there's a death penalty offense in every society.
So we have to stop. Tucker's getting spicy there, but we have to stop that. That's on us. The reason why there's no penalty for lying is because of this cell of communism. In part, there's other people who just want to have this good heart. It's the tolerance. But I think the driving thing behind this is equity. You hear them talking about this all the time. Equity, they want equal outcomes. What's driving that? That's their ideal goal of communism. So they think they're the good guys because of it. That's why Hillary Clinton says that. They think Hillary Clinton, what she's doing, she's fighting for that communism.
From the beginning of time, what's ours? It's telling the truth. If you tell the truth, the real truth, the no BS truth, like what's actually going on here, is this actually working? And no, it's not. Why isn't it working? If you were to be honest about that, you're done. So you have to ask yourself, like, what does it say about a society where the only penalty is for noting what's true? It says something pretty bad about that society. Do you want to live in a place where lying is mandatory? No! It's a third world country, as someone just said. It's literally 2 days ago, I was in downtown Buenos Aires, and I said to somebody, the economy's completely collapsed, they have hyperinflation, and I said, what's the exchange rate on the peso, the Argentine peso, to the US dollar? And they're like, well, the government claims it's 350 pesos to the dollar, but actually it's over 700. I was like, So the government lies about what the value of its own currency is? Oh, absolutely. I was like, that's crazy. And by the way, to pay for lunch, it takes a stack of pesos the size of a cinder block. You need a backpack just to buy a pack of cigarettes. It's unbelievable. But
there's no better orator in our country than Tucker Carlson right now, and it's not even close for me. And hopefully I'm hoping that he's a VP pick. Kerry Lake looks to be out of the running. Everybody's saying ALX said that. I believe, well, no, hold on. I don't know if it was ALX or Alex Brucevic. One of them said that I think it was Alex actually, said that he's pretty sure. But she has an announcement coming Tuesday, I believe. So if she can get to the Senate, great. MAGA in the Senate, she's full-blown MAGA to me. MAGA in the Senate would be great. But that's going to be a tough one with what they'll do to rig or what they'll do to character assassinate. They'll do anything they can because Kerry Lake is one of those people going against this idea. Now, I know a lot of the Republicans have been talking about communism, and the word almost doesn't mean anything anymore, so I fully understand that. I've actually tried to shy away from even using the word for a lot of this stuff, but that doesn't change that I agree with everything that I'm stating here right now. Kerry Lake actually ran up on, I think it's the congressman. Forget what his name was. I'm not familiar with him, so I got to look at this. So I just saw this clip, and she ran up on him at the airport, and I was like, whoa. Kerry Lake doesn't back down from anybody. So this came out. I'm seeing this from the Daily Caller. Hopefully the audio I think was actually really good, almost like it got edited in post or something. But here we go.
We met once when you were actually still on TV. Never
as a journalist,
as a
yeah.
journalist, but
Well,
look forward to it. I think we're going to have a great race.
It's going to be a knockdown drag out.
We can see the pettiness.
Still on TV. Never
as a journalist,
as a
yeah.
journalist, but
Well,
look forward to it. I think we're going to have a great race.
It's going to be a knockdown drag out. And unfortunately, our border is wide open. You and Kirsten have had a lot of time to do something about it. And even the Democrats are upset about it, Ruben.
I think there's a lot we can say do. We've been doing some good work. I think there's some common ground I could find on. Look, we need to figure out how to get people here legally, so don't go through the illegal manner.
We got plenty of people here. Problem is we have plenty of people here right now. We have millions of people here.
Look, you want to go talk to some of the mayors?
Fentanyl has killed more
100%.
young people.
And they come through our
And
ports
you've
of
had
entries.
an opportunity to vote. This is Ruben Gallego. He's
Hi,
had
how you doing?
our border is wide open. He's trying to run for Senate. Our border is wide open.
So he's
Fentanyl is
running for
killing our-
Senate. I don't even know who he is. So he's got serious money if you're running for Senate, and if Kerry Lake even cares about him.
our young people.
And it goes through the ports of entries.
That's going to be interesting with the Blake Masters stuff. We're going to have a lot of talks about that if Blake decides to run. I would recommend Blake to fall back. You got to know when to hold him, know when to fold him, know when to walk away, know when to run. I don't know the rest of the song. It's a great song, though. You got to know when to run. And it sucks. I think Blake Masters is overall he's not Kerry Lake, but I think he's overall decent. He made that deal with the Libertarian Party, but you're not going to beat Kerry Lake, so fall back.
No, it's coming all over. But that's not
We should really
acceptable.
fund more border patrol.
Under
more custom
President
border patrol.
Trump, we had a secure border.
That's
And I'm
not the
telling you,
case. But I
it
look
is.
forward to working together if we can, and obviously we'd have more conversations about this. I think it's
Well,
great
we're
that we
going to have
actually
conversations.
I think it's
and
great that we could have a civil conversation too.
Civil, absolutely. But you know what's not civil? People dying on the streets. And in your district, you have
Our
to say-
state.
in your district,
That's what I want from my politician. That's why Trump gets me frustrated. If you're a politician and you don't want to debate somebody, I need you to get the hell up out of my way. So I'm not going to vote. For a second, I was thinking about voting for Trump. But when I think about a politician that doesn't want to debate, it infuriates me. That's all it is. So I know it's not just a debate me, bro. It's a debate And it's really to convince people. Maybe there are some people you can change minds. I mean, it's very rare now in DC, but you can reach normies. I just, if you don't want to debate and you're a politician, I don't need you. I need you to be hungry. I need you to be healthy. I need you to be young enough. I need you to be knowledgeable enough. I need you to be fearless. Carrie Lake is not afraid to make a mistake. She made a mistake when she tried to not give Ron DeSantis credit for Florida. That was a mistake. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss another super chat? TNT Cycles. Thanks, brother. Just curious, are you on the West Coast? I am in Colorado on Mountain Time. $10 super chat. Thank you, TNT Cycles. Greatly appreciated. Great friend of the show. I'm curious how you found out about the channel. But no, I'm not on the West Coast because you would think like Mountain's 1 hour ahead. But you would think going streaming this late, I'm not going to tell you how many cups of coffee I had before this live. Did you think I sound tired? This is me like amped up on coffee this late at night. But thank you. I appreciate you. Do you feel me on that though? I need my politician out here that's not afraid, that's debating, civil too. I like that. And can be civil and savage.
You really need to put down the crack pipe, Hunter's crack pipe.
And that matters. It's kind of like a professional verbal check. Like before you come to me with some from the press or even Ruben or whatever his name is here, well, you're gonna come with like not physically, but just verbally. You walked up on the wrong one. Oh, don't do that again. So he knows. You see how careful he's walking here. He's trying to be a little petty, little fake. And Carrie Lake, he's like, I don't want to make a mistake. This is a wrestling match here. Just with philosophies and optics. He doesn't want the optic to be running away from Carrie Lake. Good job there. Good job by him. He's not. You run away from Carrie Lake, you look like a bitch. Unless you're Katie Hobbs and you know that the cartels are allegedly running everything and going in for you, and you've got Runbeck and you've got people working in Arizona that's rigging everything for you. You know that's good. The technicians, remember, they had the technicians come through and they were like, who are these technicians? This is under oath. Who are these technicians? What did they do? I don't know. They didn't say anything about the technicians the first day under oath. That was damn it, I forgot his name. It's been a minute. But the corruption just wide open. And if you don't have that, then you're doing the right thing here. It's like, I'm not afraid of Carrie Lake. I'm gonna have a conversation with her. Very good stuff.
Our state.
No, it's your district. You have the fastest growing homeless population in the country. There are veterans.
Also has the fastest growing economy in the country. And this is our state. This is our problem.
So you're okay. No, I had a solution for our homeless population.
And I look forward to working with you.
He's doing that bullshit like I look forward to working with you, and he doesn't.
You did. And this guy wants to destroy our country.
Carrie Lake she is hungry. I just really like it.
He really does. You have the fastest growing homeless population.
She's like, I'm not going to be done until you walk away from me. She would be there for 3 hours just verbally just destroying this dude.
In the country, in your district, you've got veterans dying, and you're voting to cut veterans.
That's absolutely
true. That is absolutely true. I just saw your vote in committee.
I've worked as a veteran. I've received VA
and I
benefits
appreciate.
myself.
Thank you. Good to see you.
So
I appreciate your service to our country, but I sure wish that you care more about our border. We're a border state.
It's almost like Carrie Lake is just beating on this dude. And then she's like, hey, what's up, Jim? And then she come back and just beat on him again. Oh, yeah, what's up? And then she beat on him like this dude. She's multitasking right now.
I do care about the border. As a matter of fact, I will go down the border with you. Let's talk to the mayors. Let's get together.
I'm glad that you finally are going down to the border because you've had a chance to vote on it.
Carrie won't let him do that. He's trying to do that. And I think that's a good thing. He's like, let's do that together. But Carrie Lake, she didn't say, no, let's not do it together. But she's like, no, I don't want you to do, no. I want to call you out right now.
You had a chance to vote on it.
Look, let's go down the border together. Let's get the mayors together. Let's tell us about some really sane solutions.
No, I really, that's a good, I like what he's doing there. I could see why they might put money behind him. I don't disagree with that. Carrie Lake doesn't disagree with that, but she knows he's fake and she doesn't want to get trapped into that.
That aren't just, easy answers, right?
You know what was saying? You know what was saying?
More border, putting up more border
Ruben,
ports of entry, helping out more background checks.
Ruben, we have to finish the wall. You do realize
That
Joe
is
Biden.
not as simple.
You do realialize, yes, it is simple.
He didn't say no.
You do realize that Joe
There's a
Biden.
lot of things we do. We should do some border wall. We should add some more.
You do
border
realize
patrol.
that
we should
President.
add some ports of entries. There's a lot of things to do, but just one thing does not answer it at
You
all.
do realize that President Trump was on the verge of finishing the border wall. He was doing it without support.
Right.
We had three. May I finish?
No.
Or do you just like to interrupt?
$50.
You just want to interrupt?
I believe correctly, it was only 50 miles, and Mexico was supposed to pay for it.
Well, Carrie, you've been talking most of the time.
He never did.
Mexico.
They're right by the bathroom. We watching dudes come out and zip up their zippers while Carrie Lake is savage. She'd follow that dude in the bathroom. No, she wouldn't do that, but that's funny.
Helped us immensely with tens of thousands of
They
soldiers.
pay for it. They did not pay for it.
Ruben,
So let's be
Joe
clear. Trump did
Biden,
not
your
do that.
hero, gave away $300 million in border wall materials
You know that.
for nothing. That is
We're
absolutely
still waiting
true.
for Mexico.
Can you imagine the debates, the GOP debates with Carrie Lake on the stage? Since Grandpappy's too old, doesn't want to talk about the $2 billion investment from the Saudis to his son-in-law, can't defend his stance on the pandemic, is why he's not on the debate. Imagine if you had Carrie Lake on the debate stage. She'd just blow that whole thing, figuratively, apart.
It's going to pay for it.
You know what?
But again,
Mexico chipped
this
in.
is something you and I can work together on. I
No,
think
I'm
it's
not. I'm
something
not
that
working
could go
together
down.
with you. I'm going to beat you.
Let's go talk.
I'm going to beat you. We're going to save
No,
everything.
that is smart from Carrie Lake. She's like, I want to beat you because they're going to be running against each other. So that's a better take than I was like, yeah, because I do like the, it's natural to be like, oh yeah, I do want to work together. Wait, Carrie Lake is in game. Obviously she's running for Senate. She's in game mode. She's not looking to work with anybody. She's the Bulls. He's the Pistons, and they're going to go at it.
Arizona.
That was a great clip. Good stuff there. From both sides. That's good stuff from both sides. Civil debate, out in the open, right by the men's bathroom. Maybe just walk a little bit around the corner next time. Because I don't want to see dudes pulling their hands out their pants and zipping up, and just go around the corner just a little bit. But I like the energy though. And I told you Carrie Lake would debate somebody anytime, any place, anywhere, for any reason, on any topic, I meant she would do that. She'll go anywhere. She'll go down and throw down. That's the energy I need. So Carrie Lake's out here fighting it. So she gets labeled MAGA. They're worried about that. They're worried about the Senate. They're worried about them running up on the Senate, figuratively, MAGA getting up in there. And that's going to cause a problem. Once you start getting money to that level, then the House will even be easier, I think. And you normalize MAGA as well. You're like, wait, radical in the Senate? Really? Come on. Let's look at some historic references for societies that have gone from capitalism to communism, is what I want to do. Societies that have gone from capitalism to communism. See if these are accurate. But first, let me see if Carrie Lake is brilliant. TNT Cycle said Carrie Lake is brilliant. Dude trims his beard for hours, minutes on policy. I don't know anything about him, so I have to. I respect his approach there. I am very interested to find out more about him, Ruben or whatever his name is. I don't even know his name. So let's take a look here at. I just said, hey, give me some historical kind of moments of when we had a situation where a society went from communism to from capitalism to communism. Actually, let's do this because Tucker told a story I want to actually go to this story that Tucker told, and that goes along with my comment here. Tucker is really on the same page where I'm at right now. It's been that way for a minute.
Last year I read...
Let me turn that down. That's loud for me. Let's bring it back.
The biography, which I would recommend to everyone in this room, of Peter Wrangel, who was the leader of the revolutionary white forces during the Russian Revolution, the Civil War, rather, that came after the revolution. And he was a Baltic German living in Russia and a general, worked for the Tsar. The war ends, or Russia ceases its hostilities with Germany. He comes back to St. Petersburg, and the country's in complete chaos. And the Bolsheviks have decided that, it's discontent within the army that we need to inflame, and we need to get the army. I don't know if this sounds familiar to anyone here, but get the guns and the people who wield the guns. We need them. So the first thing they do is destroy all discipline in the Tsar's army, complete. So Peter Wrangel's just been on the front for 4 years. He comes back into St. Petersburg, totally civilized city, 2-hour drive from Helsinki. I mean, it is Europe, okay? Whatever anyone tells you. And he's wandering through, and soldiers are going crazy in the streets. And they're raping women. They're stealing at gunpoint. Soldiers in uniform, in a monarchy which had not had any behavior like this at all. And Peter Wrangel just can't even believe it. These are his soldiers. He's a general. And so he's completely freaked out, and he goes into a movie theater, and everyone in the movie theater is completely absorbed in the movie. Like there's no revolution happening outside.
So that's the normie argument. So we're seeing society falling. And the people that I've talked about in this whole live are people paying attention. I haven't even talked about the normies, and that's what he's talking about here. They're in the movie theater, and there's literally conflict, not even like what we have now, and they're oblivious to it.
And Peter Wrangel thinks these people are insane. So he goes back, he's like, I got to get to Moscow. So he takes the train to Moscow. I have to tell the Tsar, this country's falling apart. He's very close to the Romanovs, the family. You should read this. It's just out in English translation in the last 3 years. It's an unbelievable book, lost to history until recently to English speakers. So he goes back to Moscow, and he's close to the Romanovs. And so he goes into the imperial court, and he knows all the relatives, and there are millions of them, hangers-on. And he notices about 80% of the women in the Romanov family are wearing red ribbons.
BLM.
In solidarity with the Bolsheviks, who wound up, of course we know how it ends, murdering them in the basement at dawn. So, wait, what? Peter Wrangel says, how is it that this country is being devoured by a violent revolution, and the people who can afford movie tickets, that is kind of our middle class, are refusing even to acknowledge that it's happening, and the ruling class, against whom it is aimed, are sympathizing with it? And if this doesn't remind you of BLM, I don't know what does. I'm reading this on my porch, like midnight, I couldn't go to sleep. I was like, wait, I live in that country. That's happening now. This is a revolution. Its aim is to hurt you.
So I'm taking this aspect, it's globalism, all that stuff, but just from the aspect of capitalism, free market, to transfer it over to something else. Probably looks, what they want to transfer it over to is exactly pretty much what CCP has. The CCP is their dream scenario, and we would be the second country underneath China, but you would still have your Pelosi's and Biden's and whoever the politicians will be going after they croak away, and it will be that same system, but they will be China Junior.
Yes, that would include physically in the end. Sorry. If someone tells you you're not allowed to speak, if someone tells you your children are not your children, okay, these are not ideological differences. This is not, I prefer, this capital gains rate. These are totalitarian measures that treat you as non-human. Human beings, free citizens, get to say what they think. Slaves must be quiet. That's the distinction. So all this it's in the First Amendment. No. Yeah, it precedes the First Amendment. As our founding documents make clear, these are natural rights that distinguish the citizen from the slave, the human from the subhuman. We can't consider slaves fully human, or we wouldn't enslave them. So anyone treating you as a slave considers you less than human.
And that's why you can say deprogram. You see, it all makes sense. That's why you can say they don't want to say concentration camps yet, because probably would wake up normies in a bad way. But deprogramming, they're trending there.
People don't pause to consider the implications of this. If someone says to you, I have a right to make your children hate you, or to say weird, creepy sex stuff to your kids, what's a valid response to that? Well, in a healthy society, if someone says weird, creepy sex stuff to your 8th grader, you get your gun. Like, try that in Bulgaria. How do you think that's gonna work? I mean it, too. Oh, you're calling for violence? Yeah. You try and sexualize my children? What? Those are my children. That's totally not allowed. Nothing like that is allowed. And I don't care if you claim you're a teacher or an administrator, you work for some creepy Soros-backed NGO. If you're trying to sexualize my children, I go right to force. And if I can't do that, I'm not really their father, am I? I'm serious. And I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of in that.
Not at all. And here's the teachers. Last night, our teachers union, this is in Virginia, a lot of stuff going on in Virginia. The PWEA, this is the union, silenced 20 citizens by signing up for citizen comment spots and not standing when their names were called. These are the people who, well, this is a little bit different. I'll tell you what I think is happening here. Then they left right after comment time, causing a ruckus. These are the same people who paraded around town with baby coffins on their cars during COVID, fighting to stay home instead of showing up to work. The only seat at the table they care about is their own. And there's a video I'm playing with them getting up and leaving. So there's a certain amount of signups, and then citizens, concerned citizens, or you can give them kudos too, but right now the atmosphere is concerned citizens sign up, and maybe it's Alex Stein or somebody else, who knows. I saw one MAGA hat there, so it's probably one of those people who I think it's a MAGA hat. They signed up, so all of them, or it looks like most of them signed up, and now it's their turn to speak, but they're teachers, so the teachers get to sign up too. There's a limit on sign up. How does that even work? I heard in Texas they don't have a limit on the sign up here to speak at this school. I think this is just a school board meeting. It's a teachers union. I'm not sure how to describe the meeting, but that's where citizens would speak, and now they're just leaving. So they are the willful army for this communism, the central power, and if they don't go along with it, then they will be the outsiders. So they feel it's safer. Economic pressures are on them to keep their jobs as well, and that's what the union is supposed to do. So they're staying unionized together, and of course that is in the benefit for Biden and everybody else. You can see clearly, easily, why I'm not for unions. They're not, and I don't even think they have the best interest of the teachers in mind. But at least they purport themselves to, and that's why they align with the union bosses and all that. They all go lockstep with the pandemic handling, all of that. That's how it plays out in practice. When you look at societies that have made that transition, let's take a look at that, see if this rings a bell. Because I said this is early stage communism, and you could say late stage capitalism. But the reason why I don't like late stage capitalism is because they use that term to say as if there's something wrong with capitalism, as if it is capitalism's fault. No, it is not. This could be late stage communism in reality, because in any societal, it doesn't matter what it is. In any type of way that you're running your society, socially, economically, there's going to be corruption. That's what's happening. If capitalism under free market with good regulations, I did the compass test with Ray the other night. I do believe you have to have regulations and checks and balances. So with that's not totally, I mean, those checks and balances you could argue are socialist or communist in nature, but I think you need to have balance. But this is unveiling the red banners, historical transitions in America's contemporary landscape. In the society already grappling with the strains of World War I, the Russian Revolution erupted like a volcano. On October 25th, 1917, the Bolsheviks, the same ones Tucker was just talking about, led by Lenin, they love Lenin, they love the Bolsheviks, seized power from the provisional, when I say they, the left, they marked the end of the Russian Empire and the beginning of the Soviet Union. That is the change of power from the capitalists. Well, I don't know if they were capitalists, but I thought they were capitalists, from their old system to the new system. And the new system was straight communism done in practice. So the late Russian Empire was a mosaic of contrasts. There was some remnants of feudalism, and I'm not an expert on feudalism. It's you're working for like a king or a noble or something like that. I have to look that one up. If you're in the chat, but it's not capitalism. Capitalist growth was evident in urban centers, so there was some capitalism there. The majority of the population were peasants, oppressed under aristocratic landlords. So they used the class warfare, and they used the kind of that BLM style to get them riled up. And they went ahead and they took over and brought in a very, very, very authoritarian form of communism. Same thing happened with the rise of Mao. Mao Zedong established the People's Republic of China, ending the Chinese Civil War. Transition, the CCP adopted guerrilla warfare techniques, implemented land reforms, redistributing land from landlords to peasants. And I think there's some parallels that you can make to American society. What's the answer to all of this? To me, the answer is faith. I'm going to reiterate my definition of woke, because when you have this centralized control, it ties in to this concept of woke. Catherine Brodsky asked the question, said a lot of people call wokeism a religion, and perhaps there's some parallels, but anti-wokeism by some has been feeling much like a religious crusade as of late. Yes, we are in a religious civil war. I don't need to always say religious, but it is a religious civil war. That's what you're feeling, Catherine. So yes, the other side is religious as well. I think every side that's engaging in this is religious in their engagement. When you examine behavior patterns instead of ideological leanings, it becomes clear that the two aren't so far apart. To me, she's going down the journey that I've gone down, and I shared kind of where I'm coming from, but let me share a little bit more of her. What I'm referring to here is a deeply activist, brutal stance, where the anti-woke engage in the same behaviors as those. There's a lot of people. Charlie Kirk was woke when he did that article saying we need a Republican DA to just find some charge on some Democrat person to retaliate. That's woke to me. And I'll explain that in a second. Generally, that includes bullying, bad faith arguments, screaming at each other, screaming, and other extreme forms of physical engagement, piles on, etc. So to me, she reminds me of where I was a year before I talked with Ray on the live, and we kind of hashed out the definition of woke. And that's how I came up with it, in part with our discussion. Because just because you're screaming and yelling doesn't mean you're woke. I think there is healthy screaming and yelling. Believe it or not, this is Laura Loomer, and she is spicy. She is spicy, and this is, to me, an example of healthy tension. I think this is necessary tension. So here we go. This is Laura Loomer. This is probably going to come in hot. She was on the streets just like Carrie Lake in a way. Unhinged, this woman that you're going to see here is one of Ron DeSantis' surrogates. We call her Crazy Krista because she has these crazy meltdowns. on Trump supporters and likes to rip her shirt off while she makes videos. I saw that locked away in her closet attacking Trump. She's a trash talker too. Laura Loomer is a trash talker. Here you go.
You are a fucking lunatic. You are a lunatic. She's over-exaggerating. She over-exaggerated cancer. Get the fuck out of here. Oh my God. How do you use that? How do you use
the crazy
cancer?
woman that like ripped your shirt open and thought that people wanted to see some woman in menopause like go through some crazy lunatic rage fit online.
Do you have a mirror at home? Really? I'm the lunatic?
I do have a mirror.
I mean, I've got video of it.
Why are you not focusing
I
on
don't have
anything
my
positive?
handsome.
Okay, we're gonna do an interview right now. Oh my gosh.
Lay off the white claw, Karen.
I don't lie about Ron DeSantis. I don't lie about Ron DeSantis. No,
You are a fucking lunatic. You are a lunatic. She's over-exaggerating. She over-exaggerated cancer. Get the fuck out of here. Oh my God. How do you use that? How do you use
the crazy
cancer?
woman that like ripped your shirt open and thought that people wanted to see some woman in menopause like go through some crazy lunatic rage fit online.
Do you have a mirror at home? Really?
I
I'm
have
the
a mirror at
lunatic?
home. I do have a mirror.
I mean, I've got
You have
video
a
of
mirror.
it.
You have both. Why are you not focusing on anything positive?
handsome.
Okay, we're gonna do an interview right now. Oh my gosh.
Lay off the white claw, Karen.
So somebody said that they replied to me. I said this is healthy tension. Someone replied to me and said, well, it's kind of funny with Laura being crazy, calling somebody else crazy. I was like, true, that is funny, but we need crazy now. Anybody who's done anything monumental, legendary is crazy. Name them. From Michelangelo to Mozart to Ye. Name them. Picasso. Name them. Mike Tyson. Who? All of them. Even you can look at Tim Pool. He's got his own type of crazy, but it's not like Laura Loomer's. But crazy is part of life. And Laura Loomer's my type of crazy. We need crazy in this battle, political battle. So that's what this is. Chicago Dad saying that he's trying to do that. She's trying to trash talk. It's like, that's kind of funny. I don't blame you. But I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to tell you why this is healthy tension. This is healthy tension. It's necessary tension. It's not meaningless or counterproductive as some might think. This is important tension. It's crucial to gatekeep true populism. This is what the populist left should have done with AOC. They should have mocked, ridiculed, came out with a megaphone against her. They did not gatekeep populism, so she became just a different version of Nancy Pelosi. A poor version, not as good version, not as powerful version, a more subservient version of Nancy Pelosi. Because you didn't gatekeep populism. You didn't say, like the right should say with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I've had enough. You had a good run. It's the House. We're supposed to cycle people out anyway. Who's next on deck? Same with Lauren Boebert. Who's next on deck? I mean, I don't have as big of a problem with Lauren Boebert, but with anybody, even Matt Gaetz. Who's next on deck? You've been in Congress for a couple terms, 2 terms, 3 terms. Okay, we had enough. You should be grooming somebody else, or you don't have to, but you have to get the hell up out of here. Gatekeep populism. Gatekeeping is a good thing. Ron DeSantis is corporate, and that's fine. Ted Cruz is corporate. Tim Scott is corporate. I'm not fully against them. But without people like Laura making sure we know who's corporate and not, testing people, we risk letting in faux populists akin to Cori Bush, AOC, and others, how they mislead the populist left. I think Laura, for me, and by my definition of woke, she's not woke there. She's based there. And if you don't know what the cancer thing is, I forgot what type of cancer Casey DeSantis had. And all Lauren Loomer did was question if basically Casey DeSantis was milking it, making it worse than what it really was. That's fair game. It's not for me to do. I'm not passionate about going that angle. It just wasn't an angle for me to go. I didn't feel that way, and I didn't dig into it. But it's fair game to question if Lauren Loomer wants to question it. And she has. I have no problem with that. Anybody can be questioned for anything, anytime, anywhere. If you do not want to be questioned for if you're milking your cancer for political gain, I have a great recommendation for you. Stay the hell away from politics. That will be the solution for that. If you don't want me to make fun of you tripping up the stairs, tripping down the stairs, your mental capacity just waning, if you are like a caveman Neanderthal with a thing on the back of your head that we still don't know what it is. It looks like a speed bump in a suburban neighborhood. If you don't want me to talk about that, I have a really simple solution for that. Stay the hell away from politics. There are people who have like, hey, you look goofy. You know, people will come at me and like, I don't get anything like libs of TikTok. I'm not saying that. And I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying this applies to me too. If you don't want people talking about how goofy you are or how funny you look or you do this, you do that, then I have a good solution for you. Don't upload videos on YouTube. So it applies to anyone, and it applies to you. If you don't want me to pick your comment out of the channel and talk about it, then don't comment on the channel. I don't want to see that. Comment on the channel, but you know what I mean. You can go to any level and it applies. So I think Laura Loomer is important, and she's not woke because to me, she is not letting an authority outside of God define her moral fabric. That is my definition of woke. Letting an authority outside of God define your moral framework, define your moral fabric. So it doesn't matter if you're bullying or bad faith arguments are probably not, I don't like bad faith arguments at any time. But screaming, that doesn't mean you're woke. So that's not, she's still working through her definition because these don't make sense. I worked through that to kind of tighten mine up. You know, a lot of people don't like mine. Okay. It's my definition. Not only that, I think it's what other people really mean. They just don't know how to define what they mean. So I don't think I've ever said that before. I really do think that's what it is. So I replied to her, and she does good questions. Some people do these questions on here, and it's not, I don't know, it just seems like it's engagement farming. She does really good questions. And you see, she's got a lot of good engagement here with it. And I already lost my comment. I think I'm just going to put in here, my definition of woke, will bring it up. Definition of woke here. So this is the conversation, so I should be able to find it here. My definition of woke, allowing an authority outside of God to determine your moral foundation. Elon Musk is equally as woke as Nicole Hannah-Jones to me. And just there's many examples. I've done a live on that too, but there's many examples. One of them being Elon Musk says, my son died at a very young age, right after he was born. Because my son died, Alex Jones had nothing to do with it, but that's why I won't let Alex Jones back on the platform. Whatever reason, if that's the truth or not, whatever, that is letting some type of authority or some type of thing, kind of define your moral fabric outside of God. That is woke. And then you go on and say, I'm a free speech platform. That's woke as hell because we all know you're not. Nicole Hannah-Jones, we know why she's woke. So it doesn't make sense to me to distinguish between left woke and right woke. You can, but you're just woke to me. She says, interesting, first time I've heard that definition. Yeah, because no one else has ever done that, to my knowledge. Catherine says, that makes every atheist or agnostic person woke. No, not necessarily. I don't blame her for saying that. It's Twitter. I'm not going to, well, sometimes I do put 500 words in the tweet, but you don't want to do that every time. When I say authority outside of God, all that means is truth. And there's a couple things. Someone could say they're atheist, somebody could say they're agnostic, but they really are being motivated by God. They just don't know. Or they're atheist, agnostic, and I don't know where they get their faith or moral foundation from, but it doesn't matter if they don't get it from God from this aspect because it aligns with mine closely enough. The term woke is moral relativism. So I might think someone else is woke and they will think I'm woke. And that is the perfect word to describe what's happening in our country right now. I explained the Elon Musk stuff here. There's other examples with it, but that I tried to kind of articulate my point. She said, I still don't agree with your definition. She didn't articulate why she didn't. Well, let me read more. But let's stick with it for a moment for the sake of thinking this through. I imagine this is important. How do you not get manipulated into your utopian libertarian society? Maybe you'll have a figure who has evil intent. I don't have one in mind right now, but that wants to use your goal to get to a libertarian society to manipulate that into you making sure that they get more power. That's exactly what's happening to the people on the so-called left. The only thing that can get you away from that is faith in something. If it's not God, you've got faith in something. Your faith might be in, my faith is that there is no God. It's still a faith. You're running from faith. You can't run from it. It's impossible. So let's stick with it for a moment, she says. I imagine there's no concrete answers in the Bible on many things we encounter in life. I didn't say anything about the Bible. And you can say the Bible's the word of God, but that's that you're getting too convoluted. Because when I say God, that could be any religion that has God and a faith in it. So I think you're getting too, because obviously the Quran's different than the Bible. Perhaps there are some interpretations by religious figures and scholars, but plenty of life's morality isn't found in the Bible. I think I just want to keep it simple. I don't think you even have to ever read a Bible to have faith in God. So I don't want to bring a Bible into this. That's not where I'm going. That's too specific. It's too specific in a way that taints the definition. The definition is general but specific enough to be pertinent here. Wouldn't plenty of life's morality isn't found in the Bible? I don't know if that's a true statement or not, but let's move on. Wouldn't then even people of faith be basing their actions, morals on their own sense of right and wrong? No. You might. So here's an example of me. This is the great example. I always bring it up where Carlos kind of laid it out straight for me, where I was articulating, because I'm young in my journey, is God a woman? Because God, women bring most species, definitely with humans, women are the ones that give birth. So who would give birth to life in the world and all that way? Carlos was like, whoa, hold up. Now you're taking it. So that did go to the Bible. But my point is that I am not looking to my own sense of right or wrong here. I'm looking to a central idea, a central faith in God. And my faith in God says that God is he a man. So it's a good discussion, but that's the discussion you have to have. And there's no right or wrong. I think your faith, here's an example of somebody who is, in my opinion, young in their journey, has not thought this stuff through. I think I have a notification. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to find it. As I replied to this person here, and let's see. Let me see. I apologize. I'm always all over the place here. Okay, here it is. So I had another offshoot discussion. So somebody said, yes, that's silly. I sure ain't woke and I'm an atheist. So I talked through that already. I think James Lindsay is an atheist and he's definitely not woke by my definition. So then here's my question for this person or anybody in the chat. If you're atheist, you don't believe in religion, don't believe in God, that doesn't mean you're woke. I am not saying that means you're woke. That means that you would have to get your moral foundation from some type of truth or wherever that is to be close enough to mine to not be woke. So I asked this person, where does your moral foundation come from? I don't think they know where it comes from. And their answer kind of leans me to that. They said their moral foundation comes from reality. That doesn't make any sense. What does that mean? The objective requirement of human life. What does that mean? That is not where you have not articulated where your moral foundation comes from. So it could come from God. You don't even know. You have no idea because you don't know where it's coming from right now. It's a hard question to answer because you could say it comes from my parents and my upbringing. Where'd they get it from? you know. So I said, if you got your moral foundation from reality and the objective requirements of human life, then why doesn't everyone have the same moral foundation? You see where I'm going? If it's objective, it's not. That's why I believe in moral relativism. It's not objective. If it was objective, everyone would have, at least with the same upbringing, similar upbringing, would have the same morality. Then why doesn't everybody have the same moral foundation? And then the answer, I don't know, well, why doesn't everybody have the same religion? I don't have a reply to that because I'm not sure what that actually means. But I think that's the answer to the issues that we have right now. So that's the wrap up. Faith in God, faith in, if you don't believe in God, that just means faith in truth. You have to have confidence. That is the compass in the fog of war. Andrew Tate is not the compass. And that's not, people in this chat probably don't look at that, but for young children or people looking for masculinity or something like that, you can look at Andrew Tate, listen to him. I listen to all kinds of people. But Andrew Tate is not the compass to anything. Reality is not the compass to anything. Reality is what we need the compass to navigate through. So it tells me you don't even know where you're getting your influences from. And if you don't, then you will get railroaded. You will get ran over by the people who want to basically run the world. Maybe take a look at the chat. I'll be out. Thanks a lot, everybody. It's been fun. Let me take a look and see what everybody's talking about. I actually haven't been looking in the chat, which always scares me because I wonder if I've been on mute. Because I've had times where I've looked at the chat. I've had times where I haven't looked at the chat for 10 minutes and the chat is like blowing up like, you dumbass, we don't have sound. You dumbass, you're not showing the video. It's late at night. Salty. Oh, that's my dude, man. He came back this week. He took a little time off. Salty Cracker is one of the best, man. Got a lot of people this channel's very salty cracker friendly. And I don't know, and then that's great. I thought my channel would be too soft, kind of like what happened with Tim Pool. There's a lot of people from there's a lot of Salty Army in Tim Pool's channel, but there's tension there. Have you heard him talk about reference to, you probably have if you follow Salty Cracker, he's like, Tim Pool's just too much of a fence sitter. Tim Pool won't do a video without hemming and hawing and but this, and then taking the other side. So I do a similar thing as that, and I don't know if I do it as much, but I do a similar thing, but definitely more aligned with Salty Cracker probably overall, especially with the Trump MAGA stuff. Tim's more of a classic liberal, but Salty Cracker is great. I haven't listened to him this week. I saw he did I think his live today was headlined about Hillary MAGA camps. I saw that. I didn't get to go in there, but that's that dude. Pole sitter Pool. Come on. Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. I do the same thing, though. I do the same thing. I do qualifications. I see how Tim works. You definitely should listen to as much news as possible. I agree. You've been fine, bro. Great show. Oh, thanks a lot. Appreciate you. How'd you find me, Tim Pool? So you're not a Tim Pool fan? I don't have many people following that aren't Tim Pool fans, which is perfectly fine with me. I couldn't care less. Let's look at here. Watch Tim every night, TNT cycles, but Salty's more my style. Yeah. Yep. See, Salty, I like Salty for the jokes, man. Like, I don't know how. Do people know, and I'm not saying UT&T, just in general, do people know how hard it is to do what Salty Cracker does every night? I don't know what coffee he drinks, or he probably has a good sleep schedule. I know Ricada takes a nap and wakes up, I think, right before it. If I'm not mistaken, Ricada wakes up right before his lives. I think he might probably live right now. Do you know how hard it is to do what those guys are doing? I mean, Ricada has, you look at his super chats, I think he's like the number one super chat dude. Like even more than Tim Pool. He's just to be all that witty and on point all the time. I hate to see that Eric July and Nick Ricada got into beef. Got into beef. And with Nick, I'm not going to take sides on that. You know I roll with Eric all day, all the time. But I'm not going to take sides. That's not me that's not my beef to even get involved with. But I will say from this, the Nick and Eric beef, to me, looking at Nick, you associate yourself with a band like Dick Masterson, I'm not surprised. You are who you roll with. And whether I agreed with Dick Masterson or not, like if I were Nick, I can't roll with dudes that act like how he acts. It's just not gonna go for me. That's not. I don't roll like that. If I'm gonna go at somebody, we're gonna go. Like I kind of went back and forth with Caitlin Johnstone. It wasn't any beef or anything like that, and hopefully she doesn't take it that way. We just disagree fundamentally on China. It's on some fundamentals type stuff. Dick Masterson and going at Eric July, that's on some other stuff. And Eric July is really coming back to defend himself. It's just my take on it. And I can't roll with you if that's how you roll. So that's, to me, Nick rolling with that. That's how the Nick and Eric beef happened. There was no beef without Dick Masterson. I'll just say straight up, that's a bitch-ass nigga right there. And I never had problem with him. I only know of him through Nick. I thought he was funny. I never really watched his shows or anything, but when he was on with Nick, I thought he was funny. And Nick just makes everybody good. Nick is just great. He's amazing. But I hated to see that. I never even followed it. Stephen Ignoramus asked me about the Eric July beef and stuff like that. I did a little segment on it, but I watch Eric to listen to the ideas of liberty and to talk comic books and, a little bit of trash talking or whatever. That's why I don't even listen to Eric for all that. That stuff is nonsense. I listen to Eric. You see, he got the Punisher writer on to write for that character from part 2. I've already forgot the contractor for ISOM part 2. Exciting stuff. You got Alpha Core coming out. He's already. Oh wow, it's 1:30. It's later than I thought. 1:30 Mountain. I'm gonna be out. That's what happens when you drink a couple coffees. You're tired, but you can still talk. Oh man. All right, y'all. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be out. But wait, we're gonna continue the conversation. I didn't even get to the Discord today. I apologize, Boring Life, if you're still on. The Boring Life told me I'm gonna get on there. There's this. What is this? Hopefully this is work appropriate. Is a dude kicking an alligator? What the hell? Is that Midjourney? I don't know what. Yeah, it's got to be Midjourney. That's funny as hell. But there's something about some good AI stuff they said on the Discord. And here's a TNT Cycles. Thank you. $5, no comment. I always think about Eric July. He'd be like $5, and just walks away like a boss. but on Eric's side, on Eric's channel, it'd be like $500 and walks away. I'm like, damn, Eric be pulling in. TNT Psycho is great, man. I appreciate you. And here's the Discord for sign up. It's in the chat right now. Sign up for the Discord, and then we can continue the conversation. The money in the channel, I had to pay for like my Twitter subscriptions, which I have a lot. Chat GPT, I got a couple that I haven't been using in a while, so I have to reevaluate the money on those. the AI voice stuff, like really cool stuff. Then I got this new one where I did the last video. I didn't get any feedback on that. That's probably not a good thing. I still want to work on it. I still like it because the benefit of this is what I'm talking about. If you don't know, I did this video that's all AI. The script for the video is written by AI. The person talking in the video is written by AI. At this point, TNT's like, what am I giving you $5 for, bro? What are you doing? What exactly do you do? I make the AI work for me. That's what I do, TNT Cycles. And this is this last video I did here is what I'm referring to. Let me bring that up. This video here, you might have seen it, is AI. So I got to pay for these subscriptions.
Middle MAGA.
I'm Jenny, part of the middle.
So I have to pay Jenny's salary. TNT's like, I get my $5 back. My grift is so bad, I talk people out of the $5. My grift is so bad, niggas want refunds on the super chats. I don't know. You have to talk to YouTube about that one. I'm just gonna be honest though. The money is gonna pay for Jenny's salary. That's what it does.
Middle MAGA.
I'm Jenny, part of the Middle MAGA Artificial Intelligence Network.
How many syllables is that? TNT Cycle's like, wait a second. I need you to go take a marketing class. Middle MAGA Artificial Intelligence Network. I lost count. So I got a network that has like 30 syllables in the title. That's probably not a good marketing strategy.
Middle MAGA.
I'm Jenny, part of the Middle MAGA Artificial Intelligence Network.
That's a lot of words. That's a lot of syllables.
The Artificial Intelligence Network.
What did you say?
I'm
nigga?
Jenny, part of the Middle MAGA Artificial Intelligence Network.
Would.
Okay, I think it's too late. Like if you're doing if you're paying an artificial, so this is like having an imaginary friend. I went online and I was like, oh, let me hire an artificial person to read my articles for me. And then in the video, I say would.
Part of the Middle MAGA Artificial Intelligence Network.
Would.
Today, we're diving into a topic that's as controversial as...
Yeah. So I'm not going to talk about Laura Loomer's crazy. I'm not going to talk about that DeSantis supporter crazy. I'm not going to talk about nobody's crazy. I think there's enough crazy to be going around. I'm out.